Hello and welcome to the channel today, everyone. This is Political Middle. As I'm sure you've noticed, Joe Biden is now considered the president-elect of the country, and while that doesn't mean he's president yet, that's not exactly how it works. That just means he's projected to be the winner, and because of all the lawsuits happening right now, we won't officially know for maybe another month or so, but that is the current trajectory right now in this country. And no script today, I just kind of wanted to be able to make an informative video to help out everyone who is unfortunately being subjugated to all of the misinformation that is online right now. So I thought to myself, how can we reduce the amount of misinformation being spread, and how can I, as a person who wants to help others engage in critical thinking skills, help you to avoid misinformation? And one of my favorite fact-checking websites is called PolitiFact. They're a group of independent fact-checkers, and they look at all sorts of types of media to rate different claims as being false or misleading or truthful or mostly true. And I think they're wonderful. They always, the way that they organize their information is so neat, it's so organized, and it really helps provide you with anything that a candidate or a political person says or a news outlet says, and it helps give you some context. So one thing that I think is important to address is, does this website have a bias? And I think it's important to tell you that yes, it does have a bias. So there's this really cool website, it's called All Sides, and they look and they rate media bias. And so they rated PolitiFact as having what they call a left-leaning bias. So not far left, not far right, not center, just leaning left. And so why does it lean to the left? Pretty much to summarize it, because if you want, you can go ahead and read all this information for yourself. The reason why they're considered left-leaning is because when you're fact-checking something, you get to choose what you decide to fact-check. And on their website, it just so happens that they decide to fact-check right-wing political candidates more than they do left-leaning political candidates. So that's why they have a left-leaning bias. But other than that, I think their website is fantastic. And like I said, it's supposed to engage your critical thinking skills. You shouldn't read something and immediately or I guess what I'm trying to say is you want to engage your critical thinking skills, and you want to be exposed to information coming from different perspectives. And that's why I think PolitiFact is so great. So for example, if you go to their main website, here it is, and you have latest fact checks that they do, looking at misinformation that is being spread online or in different forms of media like Facebook, Instagram. So for example, you can just look at everything they said here. So someone tweeted out, a list shows over 14,000 dead people voted in Wayne County, Michigan. They consider this false. The Nevada Republican Party. Republicans in Nevada found at least 3,062 instances of voter fraud. Thousands of individuals have been identified who appear to have violated the law by casting ballots after they moved from Nevada. This is considered false. And so if you want, you can go to this website, you can go ahead and read these articles. That's not my goal to just list off every misinformation content that's being spread. I'm just trying to give you an outlet so that you can do the research for yourself. I want to teach you how to fish. I don't want to just simply give you fish, if you know what I mean. So for example, and what's also great is they summarize it. Now obviously you shouldn't just look at the summary and you're supposed to take everything with a grain of salt. Like I said, engage your critical thinking skills. So let's look what it says here for the summary. Fairfax County in Virginia mistakenly reported 100,000 more votes for Biden than existed shortly after midnight on November 4th. Officials noted an error in the spreadsheet and corrected the number within 10 minutes of posting. Reported votes for Trump didn't change. So these people who want to claim all these small anecdotal stories as voter fraud, well, this is an example of the system working as it's supposed to. I'm glad that they found this error and they immediately rectified it. But you have people who spread these claims saying, oh, this is definitely voter fraud. You're not getting any context. And one of the reasons why I love PolitiFact so much is PolitiFact gives you the context. Look at this article, it summarizes everything really well, and then it gives you their information down below. There are two specific instances of misinformation that I do want to go over today. One of them involves poll watchers and whether or not they are available to monitor the integrity of the election, and two, where the potential fraud could be occurring, like what state is it occurring. So I wanted to actually focus on these two articles just for today. So here, Ted Cruz came out in a Fox News interview and he said, Philadelphia is clouding the vote counting in a shroud of darkness. So let's just focus a little bit here. There is no evidence at this point that any significant number of illegal votes have been cast, and neither Trump nor Cruz have provided any proof of wrongdoing. The Texas senator's claims about votes being counted in a shroud of darkness is also wrong. Observers from both political parties have had access to the process in Philadelphia and in Pennsylvania more broadly. Philadelphia's counting setup also includes a live stream. Like, it could not be more clear. And if you're like, okay, where are they getting this information from? All you have to do is go to the bottom, look at all of this information that they have available to fact check their claims. And they're not only looking at media, they also contact officials in these states and they talk to them and they ask them to explain what the heck is going on. This is how proper fact checking occurs. This is how you make sure that you're just not, taking things that people say 100% legit, And so the next thing that I want to touch upon is I want to touch upon poll watchers, and I want to introduce you to this website, the National Conference of State Legislators. So what this website basically does is it's summarizing what it takes to qualify someone as a poll watcher and what the specific laws are in those states. So let's look at some of the swing states, for example, that people are saying that misinformation is occurring. Here's Michigan, for example. Anyone who wishes to observe the election process and who is not a qualified election challenger may serve as a poll watcher. A challenger must be a registered voter in the state, not a candidate or election inspector, and must carry an identification card. A political party, organization, or organized entity of interested citizens may designate no more than 2 challengers per precinct at any one time. Okay, so let's go to Pennsylvania, for example. Let's see. Must be a registered voter in the county, can only be a poll watcher in 1 district. Candidates can appoint 2 watchers per district, and political parties can appoint 3 watchers per district. Anyone who tells you that there are no poll watchers who have access to ballot counting are lying to you. Our democracy has put these, whatever you want to call them, these programs, these policies in place to avoid voter fraud from occurring. If voter fraud does occur, you can bet that I'm going to make a YouTube video talking about voter fraud occurring, but as of right now, I have not seen any hard evidence. And it's funny because apparently, if you don't believe voter fraud is occurring, you're a left-winger. You're a left-wing Democrat, you're a radical leftist, but I claim to be an independent. I just happen to have some values that do lean towards the left. But just because I don't agree that voter fraud is occurring, that does not make me some type of radical who wants to see Trump get kicked out of office. Well, anyway, these are some very weird times that we're living in. So much misinformation. So many people are just being indoctrinated by listening to specific forms of media, like our president saying that voter fraud is clearly evident, but there's just no evidence of that occurring. And so I just want to inform anyone out there to be a critical thinker. Be a critical thinker when someone is telling you these things. Even what I'm telling you right now, I want you to critically think and analyze what even I'm saying to you. I don't claim to know 100% of everything, but I want to encourage people to rely on using forms of media like PolitiFact in order to double check what other people are saying. And this will evidently help us reduce the amount of misinformation that is being spread on the internet and online. Well, I hope you learned something new today, and thank you for visiting the channel. If you liked the video, then please why don't you drop a like down below. And if you're interested in looking for more unbiased political content, then please subscribe to my channel. I would really appreciate it. Thank you everyone, and have a good day.